So, you're a gamer, but also an audiophile. You want to hear every enemy footstep, but you also want to be able to hear your favorite tracks without them sounding like they're coming out of a tin can. You also want immersion, not just loudness. Now I know you must be thinking about those over-ear style headphones, but let's be real, you are tired of those heavy headphones turning your head into a noodle bowl. Yes, I'm talking about the headphone dent, that's a thing. Now the question that you must be asking is, then what do you do? Well, don't worry, KZ has got you covered. Enter the world of KZ Gale. Small, powerful, and deadly accurate. But are these the real deal, or are they just another gimmick that is being stuffed into your ears? Well, let's unbox and find out. So this right here, this is KZ Gale. Now before we jump into the unboxing and review, in no way or form have I been paid to review these. So you can be 100% sure that the review that I'm gonna give you is going to be genuine and honest. However, they did send me the product for review, so thanks to KZ for that. So let's get back to the unboxing part. So this is how the front of the box looks like, and I believe there's something going on in Chinese right here, and there's KZ and Gale. Obviously that's the only part I can read. However, I think there's a translation right underneath, and it says featuring multi-scenario ultra-linear dynamic drivers. By the way, I just recall something, that these ultra-linear dynamic drivers that they are claiming to have are also proprietary. So I think there must be something special going on over there. We're gonna check that in the review later on. Furthermore, it says finely tuned with an esports specific acoustic curve. So that means if you're a competitive gamer who likes to hear every footstep but also don't want to compromise on audio, I think you're gonna get best of both worlds. These are also equipped with dual high sensitive mics. By the way, just to let you know, KZ Gales come in two variants. One is with mic and another one is without mic, and these ones are with the mic. So before you make the purchase, make sure you know which ones are you buying. So well, that's all for the front of the box, and nothing on the top, nothing on the bottom, I believe. And on this side of the packaging, they say no matter how luxurious the packaging cannot change the inherent quality of the product. So basically they're like, even if you have a fancy box, it doesn't mean you sound good. Maybe some shots at another companies, I don't know. KZ insists on using eco-friendly packaging with smaller volume and lighter weight. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this box feels pretty light, as if it doesn't even contain the product. So yeah, I think that's a success in what they were going for. And on the other side, we have nothing much, just made in China and QC passed. So I guess it's time to dig in. So this box opens up in a sliding manner. I'm gonna show you just like that. Pretty easy, by the way, nothing very complicated. Oh, and the first look, they do look pretty nice. I mean, at first glance, they do look like they were going for some kind of mechanical look, like a machiney look, which is kind of attractive to a gamer. And if I shine the light at a different angle, you can see those curves and cuts. They do look pretty interesting. So yeah, without even going in, I can tell you for sure that these are going to attract some attention. Now let's just remove the plastic part that is the covering, and okay, it's kind of stuck in there. There you go. Oh, so let's keep these aside and see what's in the box. So without even opening, I can tell you these are a few extra ear tips for your comfort. I'm just gonna open and show you what all it consists of. So as you can see, the first thing in the box are the extra ear tips, and obviously you get two pairs just like any other earphone. These ones are on the smaller side and these ones are on a larger side. Now I'm gonna assume that the ones we have on the KZ Gale are going to be somewhere in the middle of this, which actually most people prefer. So moving that aside, these are the connecting wires, and oh yeah, there we go. These are the microphones. The cable quality seems to be fine, nothing very great. They do look braided, but they're actually coated. And just because of how light they are, I may not be able to trust on this wire completely. But that could just be me. If you're someone who takes good care of your electronics, I don't think you have an issue there. But if you consider yourself to be a little careless, I am not sure how long this cable is gonna hold out. But in case you damage your cable, you don't need to worry. They do sell a replacement cable on their official website, which I'm going to link in the description. Now on the other side, obviously we have the 2-pin connector that's going to connect into KZ Gales. Material being so light, it does feel like it's going to be comfortable on your ears. If you are somebody who goes through a long gaming session, or maybe you just like to hear audio for a long time, I don't think it's going to be an issue for you. So yeah, keeping that aside, let's get to the main thing. So yeah, these are the KZ Gales. I do like this circular thing that's going on this side, and it does say signed by KZ Acoustics, and and KZ Gale, this has a transparent covering so you can see through it. But even after being able to see through it, you can see there's not a lot of mess going on in there. It's pretty clean, so it's not going to ruin your style factor. And obviously inside you can see the mesh going on. So yeah, overall look wise, I think these are pretty great, and the ear tips do feel pretty soft. And by the way, these support a frequency range of 10 to 20,000 hertz, which means you're going to be able to hear all the footsteps, bullets, and even the whispers without missing a single thing. So yeah, these are pretty much all the things that you're gonna get inside the box. It's the cable, the KZ Gales themselves, and also the spare ear tips. Now I think it's finally time to connect the cable to the KZ Gale and take it for a test and give my initial review. By the way, before moving on, the people at KZ did send me this extra cable, which is a 3.5mm to USB, but I don't think I'm going to use this because I have a laptop and it does have a 3.5mm jack. By the way, just to point it out, the quality of this extra cable that they sent me is pretty nice, by the way. It's completely braided and feels like very heavy build. But as this is my streaming setup and I have all my USB ports occupied, I would have to use the 3.5mm jack. So bye-bye to this. So I connected the cable to the KZ Gale and they do fit quite nicely. They're for someone like me who's wearing glasses. I thought it would be a problem and it might interfere with the cable, but it's actually not doing that at all. So that's a +1 for me. By the way, I just find out that the one I got is actually a 3.5mm variant. If you want to have the changeable equalizer setting, you would actually have to buy the USB-C version, which is completely separate. So the ones that I have is 3.5mm jack with microphone, which would cost you around $12.99. And if you buy the USB-C variant, which also consists of 4-mode equalizer setting, that would cost you around $16.99. So before you make a buying decision, that's something to think about. So I just heard some folk music on this, some instrumental on this, and even some metal on this. Now I would like to say that my first impression is that it does have bass. Don't get me wrong, it does have bass. It is present there in a pretty good amount, by the way. But it's present in a way that it's not overpowering all the other instruments or other frequencies. But it turns out bass is not the first thing that I noticed. It's actually the high end. The high end of the music was actually very loud. And talking about loudness, these are actually pretty loud. And I guess that's a given if you are a gamer, if you want to listen to music, you do need the loudness. Because while gaming, every footstep matters, and while listening to audio, every instrument matters, right? But given how lightweight they are, I was not expecting even this much of a performance. I pretty much thought the bass would be very minimal or kind of an average, but that's not the case. The bass is actually pretty punchy, but in a non-overpowering way. So when they were claiming that you would get the best of both worlds, you're gonna get audio and the gaming together, that was actually not a lie. But obviously if you're thinking you're gonna get a very high amount of bass, considering that it targets music listeners as well, that's not what you're gonna get. The bass is just present in the right amount, but not as much as you would get in music specific IEMs. For example, right here I have my old KZ casters, and these do have a little more bass than the KZ Gales. But then again, these were never targeted for gamers. These are. But yeah, I would like to say even on high volumes, the audio is not tearing up and all the frequencies are holding up pretty nicely. So if you're gonna buy these, I would guarantee you that you're at least not gonna be disappointed. And if you're paying for $12.99 for 3.5mm jack version, I think your money is pretty worth. Now as I don't have the USB-C version, I cannot showcase you the 4 equalizer modes and how they sound like, but I'm pretty sure if you go for the USB-C variant and if you get the 4 onboard DSP modes, it's going to sound a little more premium than these. But if that's out of your budget, if $12.99 is where you are at, then these are going to be perfect for you. The only thing you have to understand is it's not 100% for the audiophiles and not 100% towards the gamers. It's somewhere between those two areas. You get satisfactory bass, not a lot. You get very good highs, good for audio and gaming both. The audio is not tearing up at high volumes. That's again a win for audiophiles and the gamers. And for the comfortability, I would give them 10 out of 10. I mean, they're so light, you might even mistake them for a cheap quality product, but they are actually not. For bass, I would give it 7 out of 10. It's there, it's very noticeable, but it's not overpowering, and I know some audiophiles do like their bass overpowering. For the loudness, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It's pretty loud, and that ensures me that I would not miss a bullet, a footstep, a whisper, or even any instrument in a music. Now that we have the audio quality out of our way, I think it's time to test the microphone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to this microphone without any filters. I'm going to give you the raw output, and maybe after that we're going to put on some filters and see how that performs. Because if you're not just playing with your friends or playing competitive, maybe you're a streamer, maybe you want to use this microphone for your OBS setup or for your YouTube streams or Twitch streams, we need to check how that works out. So right now the audio that you're listening to is coming out of KZ Gale's microphone, and these consist of two dual omnidirectional condenser microphones which are supposed to be esports grade, and the way that they have placed these on the wire is pretty high so that it does not miss your audio even if you don't clip it onto your shirt or whatever clothes that you're wearing. So the side where the button sits, that's the front microphone, and the other side consists of the back microphone. So how does the audio sound to you? Do give your opinions or suggestions in the comment below. By the way, the audio that you're listening to is without filters or any gain put on that. It's completely raw output just after plugging it into my laptop. See how this performs. Now what I'm going to do is put some of the filters that I use for my YouTube live stream and see how this microphone performs and whether it's suitable for your live stream or if it is just for gaming. So what I've done now is put few of the filters from my YouTube live streaming setup, and do let me know in the comments how this sounds to you. So I went back and heard the audio file from the KZ Gale microphone, and they do seem to be working well. Can you use them while playing games with your friends? Sure you can. I mean, the audio is pretty crystal clear, but they do lack loudness without the filter put on them. But I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. But can you use them while streaming? I am not so sure about that. I mean, obviously they cannot be compared to a dedicated microphone. They would obviously not perform that well. But then again, they weren't built for that. They were built to make sure that you can communicate with your teammates or your friends while you're playing some casual games, or maybe when you're doing competitive gaming, for which purpose I would say they are pretty satisfactory. So for microphone, I would like to give it 8 out of 10 because of the loudness. So if you had any questions about the microphone, I think this pretty much should clear all of them up. If you compare the microphone of these IEMs to other IEMs present in the market, I think these stand pretty high. As I told you before, I have the KZ casters as well with the microphone, and they do not sound as good as the KZ Gales. So yeah, I guess that's a win. So if I were to give you a final verdict, are these worth it? Sure, they are. Do they perform great while gaming? Sure they do. Would they give you a 10 out of 10 audio experience just like other audio specific IEMs? No, they will not. As I told you before, this stands in a pretty much gray area between both of the worlds. Gaming performance is very nice, but on the audio side, it's right about there. I mean, they don't sound as good as few of the other IEMs which are music focused, just like my KZ casters, in which the audio quality is pretty great, but could I hear the footsteps of the enemies properly? No, I couldn't. In these, I can. So would I replace my KZ casters with the KZ Gales? I would definitely do that. But then again, you gotta remember that the ones I have are the 3.5mm jack variant. If you get the Type-C variant, you're gonna get a separate 4 onboard DSP modes where you can switch between music normal, balanced, bass, and immersive gaming and normal gaming. So would I say these are worth $12.99? Absolutely. See, I'm somebody who's not into hardcore music. I just listen to music casually. While at the same time, do I game a lot? Yes, I do. So for somebody like me who's a hardcore gamer but a casual audio listener, these are kind of perfect. But if you're a hardcore gamer and a hardcore audiophile, I am not pretty sure that this is going to satisfy you. But if you don't want to have two separate IEMs, or if you don't want headphone and an IEM altogether, and you just want to invest on one thing, sacrifice a little bit on the music side to get a best of both worlds, to be able to enjoy both gaming and music, I think KZ Gale is the right choice for you. So again, the 3.5mm jack variants are $12.99 and the USB-C variants are $16.99. I'm going to put the buy link in my description and in the pinned comment as well. And that's it for the review of KZ Gales. And by the way, if some of you decide to buy the Type-C variant with the 4 equalizer modes, do let us know in the comments what was your experience so that it helps out the other people as well in making the buying decision. Before you head out, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Again, I would like to thank KZ for sending over the KZ Gales for me to be able to review and give you my honest opinion. So yeah, thank you for dropping by, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video.